Hello, Taurus. I'm here. I'm Mo for Mystic Oracle and ready to take a look at what you guys have going on. Um, I usually do a few things ahead of time to get a feeling, so a couple of cards are here to set the tone, and then I put down a few tarot and clarify for you. And I like what came out. So the overall energy is really being able to be led, which I know is intuitive and counterintuitive for a Taurus. My moon and my Mars are less than 1/100th of a degree apart. So you talk about some intense energy in Taurus. I can certainly relate and understand. But here we have the Temple Path came out. And to me, I clearly heard follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. And it's about like we have these orbs, these illuminations, these signs, these synchronicities going on. Um, and then the other card is the observer. And it isn't like sit back and watch. Here's what I'm getting. It's really follow, thus follow the yellow brick road. Really come along. It's not like you need to play catch up, but there is a rhythm of life going on right now that aligning with would really be to your benefit. Okay, so we'll say it like that, and then the runes support this. That's why it's more of an overarching message coming through. So the first rune that we had come out, this one's known as joy, but also at this time it's being called light, and it's in reverse. And so I had to jot down a few notes based on what it was really saying. Speed it up. Oh, that was it, and that's not very Taurian. Taurus is known for being methodical, slow, stubborn, headstrong, um, like knowing your way, being committed to your way, and all those things are great and important. But this is like a little zippity doodah coming in. Life has a little wormhole, a little secret passageway, and that's why it's very important right now to follow the yellow brick road. Okay, it'll take you to your quickest, we could say, ascension, revelation, transfer of energy. Some butterflies can take weeks, if not months, to hatch out, depending upon the season. But then there are those that I had some, and they said, oh, minimum 10 days. And in 1 day's time, there was the turnaround. How do I know? I watched it go into chrysalis and I watched it come out. Very shocking. So that's what they're here to say is things are happening faster than they seem. So let us just lead and guide you. Really tune in with your heart, which is a strength of yours. It's not so much, it can seem headstrong to others, but the slowness is you're really moving from the heart. You want to be in sync with your heart because you're very passionate, very earthy, very deep. But what is emerging now as we transition from Taurus to Gemini season, but we also have the overlay of the nodes having already turned because it's a Sag Gemini node alignment going on. So we already have a bit of that energy merging over, and it's like a crossover, a quick step. Okay, so that would be my advice to you and to myself as well. Is get with the pace, notice the rhythm of the song has changed, and just get on board with it. If you think of it like music, which Taurians are very in tune with, very passionate, then you will move with the tune. So how about you do it like that? How about we get that mind frame that we get in rhythm with the song, knowing that it's leading us exactly where our heart wants to go. Okay, because there's nothing. There weren't warnings coming out in the runes. There weren't these caveats. This, hey, be alert, be aware. It was very facilitating, very favorable, and not favorable like good, but favorable meaning that right timing, right place. And if you're tuned in through your heart and you're very clear, knowing that this is a quick step getting you to where your heart's intention has been working for the last 4 to 7 years. That's part of what has really happened is you slow down more than usual to be able to maintain that long of a devotion. And what they're actually doing is that quick step is getting you back up to your natural rhythm. But it can seem unnatural because it has been such a lengthy time in bringing forth this manifestation. the actualization of these dreams and desires. Okay? So the next rune that we had come out, this one is called Fertile Season. Okay, so the next two have no reverse. To me, it's like hands being held. It's like cooperation. But this one, it actually talks about a positive outcome. And it has to do with the hopes and dreams that you've planted these last 4 years. And that, and especially, you might not have thought of it like that because you got into the rhythm with it, like the self-care of it, the being in step with how long it was taking, that you might only be in the mindset of what's gone on this last fall and winter, the dedication, devotion, and somewhat distress of the situation that's gone on this last fall and winter of trying to bring forth hopes and dreams. Almost as if those others are still there. I'd really like for them to come true, but this new thing has cropped up in my heart. What do I do? Well, they're kind of on the same page here. So that's like the rhythm of the dance. It's the two people in the dance getting on the same page, even though one's going forward, one's going backwards. Even though one is moving the left foot, the other one moves the right foot in response. It's beyond a mental frame. It is more of a heart frame, okay, which is good for you guys. I will tell you the top row of the tarot came on out. The cards, literally, when I was doing a pre-shuffle to go ahead and get them really mixed in, these insisted on coming out and being placed. And so it also supports that energy as well. Again, these are just road signs along your journey. Take the information and take the path that you need that aligns with the work you've been doing. You know where your heart's been. You know what your intentions are. But this is just information and another perspective being provided to you for your benefit. Okay. So this one is called Elemental Power. All right. This one also does not have a reverse. But the irony is it talks about that it's always reversed. Even though it has no reverse, it is a reverse. And that has to do with the nodes, because the nodes are retrograde, period. They work in reverse. It's kind of like cracking a whip is how they show it to me in my mind about the nodes, is going from the south node to the north node to return to the south node to return to the north node. It's kind of the Ouroboros, the cycle of life, the wheel, and to not let it make you insane or stressed or frustrated or quit. So out of that one, I really got that it was playing with a level of insight. It's a great awakening, and it really synergizes with the tower moment. Tower moments in our mind we can instantly shock and think, oh no, what's going to happen? But really, for Taurus, who's heart devoted, plodding along, steadfast, that type of thing, getting shaken up a little bit to go, quick step, come on, let's get moving, that could be a tower moment. I do know that it clearly indicated that the more severe the tower moment, the more it's getting your attention, which makes sense, and I think that's probably true. That would seem to be true all the time. But the greater the shake-up, the greater the wake-up, okay? And it's interesting, during the time of the virus, the more that you've had to sacrifice, ingest, and change, the greater the results, the greater the requirements, the greater the results, the more that you've seen produce, the more that has been at work inside of you. And therefore, it's coming to a time as the shift begins to turn, the more it will demonstrate itself outside of you in your environment. The seed goes down into the soil to come up and spring forth and bring forth fruit, flowers, life, whatever it is that you've planted, that you're seeking, that you desire, should I say, coming from your soul, coming from your source, beyond your heart, okay? So, release the restriction, any restriction you have of wanting to put the brakes on. Whoa, wait, hold on, let me check this out. There isn't a lot of time to check it out. You know in your spirit and your soul what has been at work for a while, which is very indicative of this first card, because this showed up as the past, the Seven of Cups, the considering, the weighing the options, I mean, the checking it out from all perspectives, from the minor details. You see this tiny little ladder. You see, like that's your house, your home, climbing up on top of that, to seeing the bigger picture. All right. So you are prepared for this. It is time, which is why it's happening. Life doesn't happen out of sync. It happens in sync. But we tune into these messages and through oracles, which tarot is an oracle, these systems and understandings in order to get on the same page with ourselves, to harmonize the 3D and the 5D, to get the soul and the mind on the same page of the body, where we are able to actualize these things, the 4D, right? Okay, so we'll just keep flowing from there. Where you are in the present, I love it, because I don't do reversals. And I'm telling you, it birthed out, which is what is happening now from Taurus into Gemini, when the twins are going to be born, the male and the female, the whole-mindedness is coming forth. Go and look for the message to self video, and you'll find out more about that. It's going to pick the mind of your curiosity, of the whole-mindedness, of our universalness, of our omniverse, to get a deeper feel of what's going on here, to let those seeds percolate. But I love it because this shadow monster, this difficult card, the Seven of Swords, where, you know, the Plutonian energy all year. Wow. Okay. So my sun sign is a Capricorn. So it's been very intense in my sign, and some other intense transits have been through Sagittarius, which is my rising sign. So I've had a lot of this type energy going on around me, and figuring out how to stay clear. Number one, being aware that it's there helps a lot, but understanding the navigation of it, which is where this one comes in, this rune about the elemental power, is knowing that it works in reverse. If you knew forwards, backwards was forward, we could get on board with that, right? And so part of what I feel I've been called to share with you guys, indirectly in a sense, is how to absolutely manifest in line with your soul. Okay, so enough of that. But anyways, here you've got, this is like Pluto. It's all that noise. You see, right? You see that bird just making a ruckus, just boy crying wolf, getting the attention, the temper tantrum at the checkout aisle, that type of thing going on. And just being harangued by this energy, and even becoming so accustomed to it that you see the backpack. The backpack is full of feathers of familiarity, going under the moon, being able to deal with kind of that, I'll say, hidden agenda. And I don't so much mean the person's hidden agenda. It's like our planetary natal chart and the transits working together, discovering and uncovering the powers locked within, and being privy to that as to how we can enjoy the challenges. All right. Which, based on Follow the Yellow Brick Road, that's what she did. It started out black and white, like her life was dull, lifeless, logical, rote, scripted, boring, methodical. Was always going to be this way, to where she wakes up in a new land, right? And it all comes to color. This is my all-time favorite movie, because of that contrast from the logic to the creative mind. And we can see it is so vastly different between structured versus amoebic or amorphic. But there it was simply from the black and white to the color. Okay, from the night to the sun, from the moon to the sun, to being illuminated. So in this case, all that kind of like inward, withdrawn, hermit type work, the self-serving, the how does this fit in with me? It's not selfishness. I mean, it's neutral in that sense. It really has a lot to do with introspection. A lot of the intuitive mind, which can really overwork us because it was not meant to work alone. Okay, I like that. It was meant to work in conjunction with our instinct, our gut instinct, our primal self. That had come out also in the message to self and in the Aries Chiron. If you need more kind of like fleshing out of that, more vibing along with, go to those two readings of Mystic Oracle and see what was being said there, because we're coming into a state, the universe is bringing us to where we become whole-brained. And whole brain is the left and the right, the logic and the creative. It's the intuitive and the instinctive. It's getting us all on the same page to we vibrate and resonate as one being. And when we become whole like that, that's when the sacred unions are going to begin to happen. Whether it's blood bought or whether it's loved one, whether it's family or family, whether it's friendships or your lover, it's operating on all those levels. So it's leaving behind the old establishments here, because see, there's a city going on. It's the familiarity with that, the having to walk in the dark, the hiding of the gifts, especially of the inner knowings. Some of it, it's also, they're kind of like pointing a finger at saying, make sure you let them know of having to cater to the feelings or the sensitivities of others. It's having to, kind of dumb things down or shade things or whatever, and not being able to be fully open. But we're in the whole brain and the Gemini and the nodal shift. It's going to come forth. It's going to be the forward thing coming out of this virus, is just like the Renaissance that occurred, hundreds of years ago, and then we had the Industrial Revolution. This is going to be a shift of mankind. The last one we had was World War I, World War II. That shifted us into a disconnect amongst community. Which, no problem, it was the shake up to wake up. It was a major tower moment of about 70 to 80 years. It's turning that tide now to where we get clarity. So this is kind of like central. This is more like past, and this is like immediate recent past, but where they're talking about hitting the dubstep, being able to move right on up, to ease on down the road, to follow the yellow brick road. This is almost past right now, just simply it being brought into awareness and you being given permission to be yourself, to speak from your heart, to move forward, to move on, to kind of know that honesty and sincerity merged together and integrated is the new form of sensitivity. It's saying, I value your person and your time and your intellect and your character too much to dumb things down and slow them down in order to seem that I'm relating to you. I'd rather connect with you. And that strength of that bond, of that connection, is where the fire facilitates. Like, in order for electricity to arc through those transformers and out into the wires, there has to be that solid connection. And it allows power to come forth and move into its many forms. From, if you have an electric stove, or into the light bulb, or into your iron, or your hair curler, whatever it is, it can take on so many forms when that connection is really rooted and grounded in love. And coming forth from love, to no longer betray our heart or second guess our heart, or to scrutinize or cynicize ourselves as like, where am I coming from? Where's my intent? But to know where you're coming from. You live in this state of love. You abide in it, and that is your intent and purpose. Okay, that's whole-mindedness. It doesn't have to have a prologue or a prelude or anything like that. It jumps right in, which is fantastic, because that's where we're going. So let's just get on board with that, where the world's going. Let's metamorphose. Let's move on through that. Because things that were coming out beforehand, we're talking about dropping the dead skin, leaving the old skin behind. Kind of like the damselfly or the dragonfly, they're kind of cousins. It's that when they leave that nymph and they go into their wings, that dead skin, that little skiff of a skin is left behind, kind of like the chrysalis, that bit of skin is left behind on the butterfly, so that we can take flight. When you take flight, that is moving at the speed of spirit, okay? And that's what we're talking about, is beginning to have that space and that place. And it goes along with, I'll go ahead and share with y'all a brief snippet of Garuda. Garuda was considered kind of, you could call it the cosmic egg. And when Aruda, a bird, it's kind of like a firebird or a phoenix of sort, hatched out, that cracking of the shell caused the awakening of life as we know it. You could say formation, but it doesn't even get into the depths of that. It's literally the awakening of life as we know it, and being able to roll with that. So that cosmic egg is cracking. That's what is occurring now from Taurus to Gemini, as well as the nodal shift. is the unique combination of earth and sky coming together, heaven and earth. It's not even the above and below. We say that, but we've said it so much that we could keep it in a mental frame as opposed to the physiological occurrence that's about to happen. It's like when um, preparation meets opportunity, when potential and actual get together, when soulmate and twin flame energy takes the best of both and becomes sacred union. Wow! You better buckle up, buttercup. You better hold on to your britches because here it comes. So, anyways, it leads us into our third card, which is I would call this a tomorrow card, not necessarily calendarically 24 hours from now. It can be because it is pretty rapid. They're saying transforming, okay? It is literally a turning of the page. So it is almost in the period of a day. You'll be like, one day I'll be like this, and the next is like, ha ha, okay, here's what Mo was telling me, and of what was coming. And then we each have our own role to play within it because we have our own individual story, our development, our character, and our own crayon in the coloring box, okay? So what is coming forth here? It's called judgment. And we've been taught that that means judgmentalism. That means caste systems of deeming who's better than another, or diminishing or exalting. It actually, no, in the pure form, judgment is being able to see and perceive and to know your role in it. It's having clear vision, having clear sight, okay? That insight and that outside, those environments, being congruent, inwardly and outwardly aligned, being of one with your environment, just like a cell. The balance, the osmosis, the balance between the pressure inside the cell and the outside. The stress, the pressure, all those things are dissipating. They're moving away. That's why they want you to ease on down the road and get back up to your speed, because it's been so long, and your waiting and your diligence and your patience and your fortuitousness that it's like I was going, spirit fingers to you, Taurus, and anybody else who is watching this. This message is for you, and the universe is applauding you and saying, in sign language, they say thank you, saying thank you for who you are and how you've held fast, and they're saying now it's time to turn it up and to get back to the speed of the self, all right? And they'll take you from there. And so it's getting into that clarity of judgment. And you see how it brings forth that freedom, the expression of the spirit, the offering up to the divine, to the opening to the divine, to know that your heart, right, in a whole brain society, in a whole brain existence, we are coming from the heart. It's where the heart and the mind are aligned with one another. They're in that interplay, that dialogue, that conversation, the yin, the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the past and the future, right? Because if those two are talking, we'll let this sucker be turned inverted. We're shaking out those feathers. We're getting rid of our old identity, our old associative beliefs and establishments, and being able to say, hey, open arms. Show me the new way, like Dorothy on the road. It came to life, it came to color. It began to be exciting and intimidating all at the same time, but she became woke, right? Like Garuda's egg, she woke up. That was it. And the irony is in the fullness of the movie, she actually had been knocked out and gone to sleep, okay? So that when she did, so there's that mental state, the dream state, remember? And the physiological state, okay? So that's what we're talking about, the physiological state of judgment here, of being able to see clearly. Because when we see clearly, we'll be seeing clearly. And humanity and the vibration of the earth and love and practicality will right itself. And the boat will stop rocking and the journey can proceed. And we're going to have beautiful life and friendships and relationships and those sacred unions going on. And the world is going to be colored with love. See the paints back behind me? Sorry. Some words spilled forth for me in 2004, and that was it. Because somebody asked me, how would I change the world? And I could only say what I saw when I looked in my heart, and I thought I'd color it with love. So that's what we're rejoicing in, right, y'all? We're like Dorothy. There's no place like home, and home is a world where we all love each other, where it's colorful and it's synergistic and it's alive and it's full of rhythm, music, and passion, to where Taurus is the complement to Gemini, is the complement to Cancer, is the complement to Leo. It's not competing energies, it's complementary. We go from the mental mindset to the creative mindset, like in the color wheel and art. They're complementary colors. They don't compete. They look to give each other the advantage, to show each other off, to play off things favorably. And that's what I believe intelligence has come to serve us. Okay, so we're going to go into the depths. Okay, we're going to go a layer down here. Let me see what they're saying as to how to do this. So, whole deck or partial. Right. Put this. Okay. You go behind. You come up. I said it was already chosen. They're at the bottom of the deck. So, okay. And then that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to back up to go forward for just a second, because I knew they were telling me we're going to have 3 and 3 and then some side cards, not necessarily clarifiers. I can put clarifiers on this if it's necessary, but if the message is clear, why should I clarify? Because that is part of my gift, is being intuitive channel, is I see without seeing. And so when I look to give you the clarification along the way. Okay. So that might be why my channel sometimes operates differently. It's not better. It's not worse. It's just adjacent. It's different. So outside of this, an energy to work with on that top layer of cards of the 7 of Cups, the inverted 7 of Swords. Now, mind you, I have no inversions in my deck. It came that way. And then the Judgment is to be able to notice the Magician. And so here I really feel the prevailing message over those is to know how to interact with your environment and yourself, outside of yourself to inside, outside to inside, processing it through. And to me, that word process is key. Remember, we've been talking about the instinct, which is more the gut, and the intuitive, which is more the mind. It's allowing those energies to work together, to synergize, not just in the now. So I'm going to make my book of mental laws, my dictionary, and it's set in stone, and this is the way it's going to go, so I can get faster and move better and achieve more. No, it really is an flexible, organic, dynamic process. It is something that is ever evolving and changing, not to trick, but to stay current. Anybody who has a phone, it insists on updating, right? And in order to keep progressing, there comes a time to where if you haven't updated by then, they force you to update. It's kind of like that. Life's saying, hey, keep up. Come along with me. I've got some things to show you, some things I want you to see. And I love that the power of observation here, which you notice, sitting on another cosmic egg. That's how I know it's this great awakening of taking the Taurian strengths of heart devotion and putting it together with your passion, and them saying, hey, if we make it a rhythm and we make it a dance, could you do it like that? And I think Taurus is like, yeah, I could be game on with that. I could do it like that. So it's really saying, let's take your strength, let's turn it up a bit, let's play it up a bit. We haven't seen this in millennia. Let's see what happens. How about we? And it's so stable. It can't throw anything off balance because it's working within the channels of the energy. It's being in this dynamic energy of being able to have the light and the dark and the beauty and the plasma and the matter and the gas and the liquid all coming together at a speed that we can process because we're whole-brained. When we're whole-brained, our mind can move and manifest faster because it doesn't get lost in communication. It is establishing trust with yourself, establishing trust with your source, your life force, who you pray to, where that comes from. So anyways, I love that there. We're gonna leave that there for a minute. We're stepping down to the next level. That's like more the intuitive mind, and I do have to show y'all for a second. Let me get them turned the other hand. Which to me, this is actually how I see intuition. It's more in these shadowy, deeper bluey type colors. And here, the kind of the assertion is we have the warmer coming. All right. It's like connecting to the inversions. It's like I have no better way of saying than 69, which lets me know by the time Cancer is coming complete and we head to Leo, it will be done. That we will connect the head and the heart. How fantastic. I love that. So here, I'll just go ahead and show them all to you because I know we're going to stay on track. We've got the warmer colors coming in, and we even have the warmer energies coming in. It's not warmth versus cool. It has to do with, earthy versus airy, instinct versus intellect and intuition, because we're becoming whole brain and we want both, right? This is more the heart energy, and the other was more the head energy. So in here, what I love about her is, in a sense, her whole body is in with her head. She's on board. And I feel that's what y'all are saying here is you're like, yeah, I can get on with that. I can get on board. And it's funny that when I pulled out the Observer and the Temple Path and heard about the Yellow Brick Road, instantly a song jumped into my head. And it's by Hot Chocolate, You Sexy Thing. And it's I Believe in Miracles. And I thought, oh, yeah, that's very Taurus right there. Well, this is very Taurus. It's where you're seen as headstrong. I really see it as like a tenacity and a devotion to the heart of wanting the world to evolve from a heart space. And here, where we see the Seven of Wands, this one that comes up in contact, I feel it's that you've already made your choice. You've already made your peace. You've made your decision, and what it requires, you will go forward into. Because to me, where the Taurus can be methodical or considered slower, it's really in the contemplation, the consideration. Because once you know, you go. Okay, you're committed and you're in there for the long haul. That's why you take the wisdom and the time to consider. So down here in the heart space, you've chosen, you're like, okay, I'm on board. And I love it because we can see this as prayer, but prayer is integration. It's being able to be in contact with the divine and, the 5D, the 3D of our mind and our soul being on the same page, so that as we take action, we're going to pay that price, make that investment, which Taurus is very tangible. They call it material, which they often reference you to be like couches and pillows and just luxurious pashmina scarves. I'm like, it has to do with very much the physical, the material of what am I going to do with my body? What am I going to put my energy towards? Because it is so massive. It is so devoted and powerful that once you go in, you often do not back out. You see things through. And so I like that that's the past energy is as you're hearing this, this is actually occurring and you're going, I'm on board with that. And each person, like I said, the crayon you're rolling, it's going to be different based on your specific development of where you've been going and your hopes and dreams. But these are like kind of like the keys and principles behind it. Okay. And so in the present, soon to be almost past energy of the heart, we have the Emperor. Okay. And the Emperor I love, he's got the chess piece here, the King. And the King is, as opposed to the Empress, the Queen on the chessboard, she can go anywhere, anytime, any place. The fullness of measure of whatever she sees, boom, she's there. Boom, she's there. Okay? Here, because we're down the heart, we're down in the Emperor energy, right? We're in that instinct of, it kind of is vibing on the feeling of like a scavenger hunt. You can't go, well, I already know 3 steps ahead, so I'm going to jump there. Because no, you don't. The uniqueness of a scavenger hunt is one builds upon the other. And so this with the warmth of colors would tell me we're in a day-by-day process. Thus why this energy is don't formulate those hardcore rules of, oh, okay, so when this happens. Life is saying stay flexible, roll with me here, follow the path, let's go into this. Because something you cannot think or imagine is going to occur, and I need you to stay with me. I need you to stay present. And that's why these present cards that are here, this is up above it, I tell you they're almost past because they are so present. It's the turning of the leaf. It's the turning of the page. It's the dawning of a new day. Um, in like 30 minutes, this is the only sunset this will ever be. Ever. Ever in existence. It's original. It's unique. Okay? So they're like, use your imagination to scope out, but use your discipline and your devotion to scope in and to be present. And I love it that he's sitting, in my mind, he's sitting on Mars here. And there are lots of crosses going on. He's kind of reflecting out, and we can see a bit of the past going on here because of the skull, but he's also reflecting out into the future. And it's like, okay, I'm present. I'm here. You've got me. Okay, tell me step one. Tell me step two. I'll get on board with that, but he's not one that gets ahead of himself. He's very present, and that's why you see him seated. He's not needing to run and go and do, and not easily disturbed or flustered, okay? And that's fantastic because it's underneath this energy that has been annoying you for so long that, oh my God, if you don't tell him to do this, and they won't do that, and this and that's going to happen. He's down here. I can see the breath moving through his nostrils. Can you see it? It's more like that stream of consciousness coming down like, yeah, okay, I can see that. That's where this energy is coming from, and it's in the present, and that's fantastic. Because as you soothe and you get your energy into that proper rhythm, that dance, it becomes very earthy, it becomes very present. But when you're so very present, you're very progressive because you're in step. And when you're in step, there's no having to recalibrate. It's fantastic. So I'm from there. Oh, I inverted those. Hang on a sec. Okay, so here we have the sun, and the sun is the one that's coming under judgment. You see the beauty of like being able to open, and when you turn upward, knowing you're being received and you're able to be set free. That openness of like, I trust you, I trust me, we've got this, you've got me. Here is that powerful connection. Look at that. The sun is channeling that energy into the mind and into the heart and into the being and beginning to move the space all around this person, all around you. This is the future, but it's the immediate future. This is literally going day by day. And that could seem slow, but actually it's a big picture, little picture. It is being able to have the big picture formulated in the small details. Okay? But it's coming along with like this energy because you see that cosmic stream, that cosmic consciousness, the conscious flowing in. It's also hitting the heart here. It's warming the soul, and she is surrendering to it just as we see here. It's the same person, can you see? And remember the moonish type, intuitive, feminine yin type. And here we have the masculine yang, the arms open of, and the skirt swirling. We see the feet, which indicates action and movement. And, okay, clear. Thank you. Plan of action. And it's not a plan of action that you can dictate yourself, right? Because it's one small step at a time. And that scavenger hunt where this drives your feet to the next day, the next destination. It's really being able to stay in that space, that scope of a day, okay? And the energy that is really coming in to overview and enhance and lock this in as this card. She's been showing up quite a bit lately. It's the Ace of Wands. And I love it, and I love her because even though the crown chakra is very extended, it's also pulling back down while we see the scallops and the points here, the anchor points. So this is the whole-mindedness that is coming. It is the gut instinct meeting and merging with the third eye, the intuitive, the dark to the light, just like we have going on here. Remember the infinity and the infinity. Taking it through the mental body and putting it in the physiological mental body called the brain. The brain is the access point where the intuition can harness together with our instinct and move through our body. You touch a hot pan, the brain, the instinct says, pull your hand away, right? Then the intuition can begin to build the wisdom of, well, don't touch the hot pan. That's what we warned against here, against rules and regulations. Here, when we're really working and moving in this along with this, we go, oh, I need to have something in order to touch the hot pan so that I don't burn myself. Okay? That sounds kind of like trite and simplistic to wrap this up with. But really, when we do that in life, life stays at that appropriate step, that measure, that pace, that we see, we desire, we're clear, we know, we manifest. And stage 2, stage 3 of the scavenger hunt, of the moving forward in life. Okay, I love it. So I was told to just cut the cards. Oh, no, you're stuck? Okay, thank you. And in the cut of the cards, these came out. So we're going to round it off with this energy. Look, blossoming abundance. And see, we have the 3 going on up there. Because it's not, the whole brainness is the 3. We're going from, it's the 1 + 1 = 3. Okay? So you have the intuition working in harmony with the instinct. Okay? The masculine, the feminine, the yin, the yang, the day, the night, the active, the rest. We have it going together, and we've got this type of a look. Well, it produces this blossoming abundance because the intuition, the intellect, working in synergy and harmony of perfect integration with our gut instinct, it produces the whole brainness. You can't even clarify it any more than you can know what your children are going to look like when they come out. You start going, well, that looks like me, because they are their own being, their own person, their own combination. Well, this blossoming abundance is what is coming forth from that. It is like the child, the new world that's coming about. When we become whole brain, it creates a new world, personally and publicly, okay? So that going on, and then the next came was second chakra. We've got Ariel going on here. So we got the 3 and the 6, which is 3 cubed. Okay, 3 squared. 3 squared, yeah. 3 times 3 is 9. And so that's kind of where they're having you step up your pace. They're letting me know is life is no longer about addition, multiplication. It's exponential. And when it's exponential, you move at a pace that merges in all the necessary growth and development and leaves out any of the fluff and puff. There's no superfluous wasting of your time or energy in things that are unworthy, unnecessary, those costly things, those things that cause confusion or doubt or shadiness in the mind. They want us to stay in clarity, and that's the second chakra, the womb, the place of development, all right? So, and then it led to the final card, the world. And I love it because you're able to step outside of yourself to see where you come from. And you're able to do it with yourself, with your spiritual self. When your whole brain, that's what they were telling me in that message to self, is that we have to use people as sounding boards, or like an artist works with the material or the medium in order to manifest and know what it is they're making. We're stepping into an age of miracles and manifestation, because when you become whole brain, you see it, you say it, you see it, you do it, you see it, you believe it. When you're on the same page linguistically and you understand your own self, trust your own self, trust your own source, you're not having to negotiate or prove or understand or disprove, or all the cynicism goes to the wayside. The brakes come off, which really has to do with joy becoming light. That was the sidebar message they'd given, as they said, Taurus, take the brakes off. And so I'm looking at myself. I watch these when I'm done to get the truth of what I need to hear. And what I need to hear is take the brakes off. And so it's knowing that you're going down the path that you've chosen. Why are you hitting the brakes and pumping the brakes along the interstate? They're like, let it go, ease off, stay in tune, stay observant, stay along the path, and do it day by day. Remember, and the journey will unfold itself. It's not such a deep tease as it is cycles of life. when we want to keep karma, we want to keep time and accounts balanced. We want income and outcome to stay in their proper flow. Okay? So I could go on, but you are intelligent people, you're beautiful people, you're passionate people. You know, maybe go put on hot chocolate, you sexy thing, and dance around and hear what it's saying to you. I wish you the best. I wish you well. I pray for your natural rhythm to rise up and to get in step with the song that you begin to feel playing around you. Maybe even create you a playlist as you get about like domestic duties or other things to refresh your spirit, remind yourself that just like the reverse that's going on here is we're stepping into all these retrogrades. It is actually working for your benefit. You don't actually have to do work. Your job is to listen, look, listen, and feel, and to get in the rhythm of it. And it's going to happen effortlessly. It's going to have the process of life and the way things work is the season that you're in right now. So, bye for now.